too.
So, I'm here with Pangalangan, uh, Elizabeth Clyde, to those who would prefer her real name. But
Yeah, I think it's so funny you guys just didn't know what to call me at the beginning because you just never asked. And I even heard, I think it was a meeting thing. It was after I joined, and you guys just had a meeting, or right before I joined, and you guys were debating what to call me. And I was like, why don't they just ask me?
yeah,
So
they're, you know, nerdy guys. They might struggle sometimes.
it's fine. Now
Um,
I'm just all the names: Elizabeth, Pangalangan, Clyde.
yeah, yeah. So I am TJ Blackwell, host of the Whole Church podcast. I co-host on Systematic Ecology, obviously, but I'm not the point of today's episode. We're here to talk about and learn about you.
Me, there's not much to know, but let's go for it.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
I'm here
Isn't
with.
that what everyone says? You're supposed to say that if you're humble.
Yeah, of
Well,
course. Yeah,
little old me.
with our second most beautiful host of Systematic Ecology.
Is the first
Um,
one you?
no, the first one is Will.
Oh yeah, that bald beauty.
Yeah, respectfully, um, stiff competition.
It
But
is.
I know some of your fandoms. You wear some of your fandoms on your sleeve,
I do.
literally.
Literally
Um,
on my sleep.
so why don't you just like run us through it? Like, what's your top five fandoms? And if you can't narrow it down, just don't.
Oh, I can. Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ fandom's really been popping off lately.
Right, right. No, do love Jesus with my whole heart, but this cross was actually I added it because I felt bad. I didn't have like the Jesus tattoo, and I'm like maybe I should get that since I have literal demons on my arm.
Yeah,
So my first love was Inuyasha. Growing up, that was my first introduction really to anime. I don't really count Pokemon as anime. It teeters, you know what I mean? I don't count.
yeah,
Like Pokemon was like probably like one of my most nerdy like out beginnings, but Inuyasha was my first anime. So he
yeah,
is my first love, and that's why he's like proudly presented on the shoulder.
yeah.
And then
Inuyasha is great, by the way. If you're
he's so good.
watching and haven't seen it, it's great.
It's great. A little disappointed with not really a reboot, but like the Princess Himi, like, but it's
Yeah,
okay. It's fine. We still love it because we love Inuyasha. I'm a true fan. If you love something so much, even if they make something that's trash, you must still love it. If you truly, because you love, I mean, if you think of marriage, for better or for worse, like you can't just jump off the bandwagon.
yeah,
So still love the sequel. And then I'm a big Ghibli fan, like Studio Ghibli, top movies is probably, I realized I had the epiphany in Anime Club as we were watching Kiki's Delivery Service. And it's about like the bakery she stays in, and they really took her in. I'm like, I wonder if this was a core memory of why I became a baker and a
yeah,
pastry chef. So it was kind of like unlocked as we were sitting in my like baking classroom watching it, and I was like, core memory,
yeah.
boom, just relived the dream. So Ghibli, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, of course, My Neighbor Totoro,
Hmm.
Spirited Away, love all that fandom. Pokemon, that's how I met not met my husband, but we geeked out together over Pokemon, being like 17. And this was before I'm 31, so I'm not the
I
oldest, but
wasn't gonna say it.
I'm not the youngest, you know? And so, but back in the day when I was 16, 17, it wasn't cool to be a nerd. Now anime is cool, and it's a big like fandom, and people are wearing shirts they don't even know what the anime is. Um but back in that day, geeking out about Pokemon, not the coolest, but we were able to geek out, and I truly believe I would not have married him if it wasn't for that initial conversation. So, Ghibli, Pokemon, Inuyasha. You got to do One Piece. I should have had my
Gotta.
little Luffy here. I have my little Luffy figurine. He sits down. I move him around the house like Elf on the Shelf, just because like I love seeing him around the house. I'm like, oh, you're over here while I'm doing dishes. Thanks,
Yeah,
Luffy.
I'm wearing One
Appreciate
Piece
you.
socks right now.
As you should. As you should. Okay, now a fifth one. That's hard. I would say Fairy Tale. It's
Yeah,
underrated. And there is no fairy tale merch in Japan. I'm very upset.
good.
No, it's not good. TJ does not like fairy tale, but he never gave it a chance, and it
I'm a,
just makes
I'm
me sad.
I'm a strong fairy tale disliker.
And you haven't given it a chance. Fairy tale wants to love you back.
I think fairy tale has to like earn its chance.
How does it earn its chance?
Uh, I'm not sure, but it hasn't figured it out yet. So
Gosh, I probably should have said fairy tale closer because that is my avatar for systematic ecology.
it is.
Now I am questioning my love for it.
Also, your most recent tattoo, I think.
Yeah, it is one of them. Lucy's key is on. Wait, I hate the mirror. Why can't I do this? Lucy's key, and then I have my like basic baker one under this bracelet. What else do I have? I have Luffy's hat on my shoulder. I also have the cricket on Mulan on my back too. He's on my
Cool.
cherry blossom.
Very cool.
So I love Mulan. I just love everything except sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek. That's really not my jam.
Yeah, that's not for everybody. Nobody like, not everyone wants to live in the future.
It's fine. I want to live in the now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the now is a present, right? That's why they call it that.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. To paraphrase Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda, is the now
I
is a
recently
gift.
watched Kung Fu Panda 3 for the first time the other week. So random. So
And
beautiful. It was
yeah,
great.
so
Fantastic.
good.
10 out of 10. Like,
Great
I
trilogy.
kind of have daddy issues anyway. I mean, who doesn't, right?
So
So I was just kind of sobbing. I was like,
yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
so good. Like, this episode's about you, but let's talk about DreamWorks for a second.
Okay, fine. Let's do it.
Like, they've got two of the best animated trilogies I've ever seen. How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda.
You didn't say Shrek.
Shrek's not a trilogy.
Okay, that's fair enough. There was Shrek 1. Yeah. Is there more than one Shrek?
There's
Because
4.
Okay.
You
I
get
can only
Shrek and
think of
Shrek
3.
2 and Shrek 3 and Shrek Forever After.
Okay. I forgot Ever After because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the one with the Rumpelstiltskin, is it?
It is.
It is. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm blanking on one. I guess it's just the only logic here is for me to rewatch Shrek later
Yep.
on. All
Shrek
of them.
the Third is the bad one.
Maybe I just blocked it out then
Probably.
because that's not the
Most
one
people
with
do.
Prince Charming.
Nope.
That's
Shrek
2.
2.
Wow, interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. What else do you want
Moving
to know
on.
about me?
So, like, just tell us about you. Like, what led you here? What have you been doing? Like, what do you do for work? There's so much to know about you. You're such
Is
a
there?
mystery.
Am I? Am I really?
No, but you've been on the
Okay.
show not that long, so people haven't gotten to hear that much.
Gotcha. I was say because I just talk way too much. So hello. My maiden name is Pangalangan, so my parents did not have an aneurysm and just like couldn't stop saying la 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 and named me Pangalangan out the blue. So I am half Filipino, which the name Pangalangan comes from. It's unique even in the Philippines, which is really fun. It like translates loosely to name. So my family, the Philippines didn't really have last names. And when it started getting colonized by the Spanish, they were like, well, you need to have last names. And so my family was kind of like thugs. And so when they chose their name, they were trying to be like stupid. And it translates loosely to name, and they just made it really stupid. So that's how I got Pangalangan.
It's pretty funny.
It is. It makes
Most
sense.
last names are kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones that aren't trades specifically, like Blackwell. Huge shock. There's a town in England called Blackwell.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. Like even when I go to talk to my Filipino family and go to the Philippines, like we are the only Pangalangans we know of. So everyone is loosely like connected. So no,
Yeah.
I think they married into the family, so they're still my family. But one of my like aunts-in-laws, their family made the shoes for World War II. So they're very clannish. But yeah, the shoes in World War II came from the Philippines. So you're welcome, I guess.
No, thanks.
Mhm.
So, like, do you speak Tagalog at all?
No, I can understand a few words, but gosh, it's
Not an easy
gibberish.
language.
So if you know how like when we say, "Are you speaking gibberish?" When I watch my Asian like movies or like my dramas, K dramas, if someone's talking nonsense, they literally say, "Are you speaking Tagalog?" Like that's
That's
what
pretty
they say
funny.
instead of gibberish. And so it's just a very hard language to learn. And growing up like half Filipino, I didn't really grow up around the conversation a lot since my mom couldn't speak it. So, but it's okay.
Yeah.
From a very small town called Walterboro. And if you know of Walterboro, it's in South Carolina, you just get out, you run. And that's what I did when I turned 18. Moved in next door to my husband with his grandma. So I was the girl next door from like 18 to 21, got married at 21. And this September, we are celebrating 10 years of marriage. So we're very,
It's so cute.
I know, right? So cute. I really like him. He even said today, he's like, I still like you after 10 years. But we've been together about 14 years. So
Yeah.
maybe
So like,
15.
not to harp on it, because like, it's just half of your heritage. But I know quite a few Filipinos. Um, have you ever been to Jollibee's?
Yes, of course. There's
Yeah.
one in New York now.
Oh yeah. Do you
Hmm.
like Jollibee's? Is it like
No, it's sweet. Filipinos put sweetness in everything. Like that's what if you think about it, guys, if you think about all the skinny Asians, you don't really think about Filipinos. They're not very skinny.
weird?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We
Jollibee's is just amazing to me.
do you like it? Have you had it?
I've had it once.
Where?
It was not good. So there's one in Virginia Beach,
Is there?
or there was
Is there Filipinos in Virginia Beach? I guess so.
a few.
Enough, I guess. Interesting.
Enough.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, when you go to foreign countries and how like, I think McDonald's in the Philippines had spaghetti, as their menu items, so
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing about me. I love to travel. I just got back from a trip to Japan. It was my dream vacation. We had the best time, but I'm very glad to be home. Favorite part was going to Kyoto and seeing all like the historic Japanese Edo style houses. Like literally, we went to restaurants where we had to remove our shoes and sit on the floor, and it was just fantastic. I went to a maid cafe because I felt like you just had to. You had to go to
Yeah.
a maid cafe, and it was the cringiest thing I've ever felt a part of. They called me master, sama, as they should. Well, I was Hime sama. So my husband was master and I was Hime, which is princess in Japanese. But
Oh,
very cringy. Got the muy muy love parfait and we did the little chant to make it muy muy delicious. I hated every minute.
what a good time.
It was so cringy. But we did it because I felt like it was just something you had to do in Japan.
Yeah. So like you rubbed it in earlier about how you're not working right now. What do you do for
Oh yeah.
work?
Oh yeah, I forget about that. So I have a dream job. I am a baking and pastry instructor for high school students. So my first degree, I have a few, is in baking and pastry. And I worked in the industry for a very long time. I got really burned out with like 70-hour weeks. You know, you work in the food industry. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic until it's not. And then I worked in the industry for a little bit, wanted to get out. My husband was going to go back to college for ministerial leadership, and he is a pastor. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be a pastor that just sits and looks pretty. I'm going to go back to college for ministerial leadership. So we both went back to college. It was online. So we just kind of went back online. He stayed at a position in the church. And so then I started working at the church right before I graduated my college, running a ministry college there. It was a lot of fun. But then I wanted a full time job because the church just doesn't pay enough. Then went to Charleston Southern University where you could get a free master's. So I used my ministry college experience to get work at Charleston Southern Recruiting, got a free MBA, left there, and then teaching and culinary fell into my lap. So it's kind of nice. I get to use almost all of my degrees. I told my husband the only way I can utilize a baking degree, a business degree, and a Christian degree or a Bible degree is I have to have a Christian coffee shop or a little bake pastry shop.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the ultimate dream one day. But right
Yeah.
now, just hanging out with high schoolers and hanging out with you dorks.
Yeah, that's the right word. But like maybe you can just like install yourself onto the side of a mega church. Small sidestep into building your own bakery.
Maybe. We actually attend. It's technically a mega church, but I wouldn't ever want to attach myself to a church because with my husband being he's the creative pastor of our church and we have about I think 10 different locations and we're not satellite. Every single person has their own campus pastors, but they preach the same message. So I love the fact everyone just assumes we're satellite, but I love the way we do church just because like the campus pastors will get together and they go on a writing retreat and we are under the leadership of one senior pastor who grew the church over 75 years from like 50 people to over like 4,000 people come with all the campuses. But just seeing a lot of the church politics and whatnot, I want my own because I don't want to have to answer to anyone else or, you know, anyone else to have a say. And most importantly, if I fail, I want to fail by myself.
Yeah, yeah. I think satellite churches are weird. Like, if that's
I've
how you
been
feel
to a few.
comfortable
Some people
working,
do it
but
really well. They do it because they have their own worship band and they
yeah,
have a screen set up where if you kind of sit in the, unless you're sitting like front row, if you're sitting near the back, you don't notice that is actually a screen. And each satellite church, because we're friends with other pastors with other churches, of course, and they each have their own campus pastors to minister and love on the congregation. So some people love it, but that's not the model we do at Faith.
yeah,
I yeah, I love working alongside my husband in the church and I love just church leadership and whatnot. So we're
yeah.
very involved in our local church.
That's awesome. So
Mhm.
you just recently joined. I guess it's still recent. I really have no
I
concept of
think it's
time,
only been like 2 months,
personally.
right? I think April, because I just had a birthday.
Mm,
I remember talking about it.
yeah. So like, how did Josh rope you into this?
He called me, I think it was, had to been in February because I was like at a teacher training thing. And I still had his number saved. I believe I've known Josh the longest out of all the podcasters, which is wild to me. I met him when I was like 13, 14 at church camp. I think we went to the banquet together. I can't remember. We had like a little church crush romance
That's
date
the story.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't really go anywhere, obviously, because I just gushed about my hot husband. Well, I didn't, well, he is hot. Um, but yeah, so I've known him for a little bit. He moved to Charleston for a bit for college. And that was when he got to be friends with my husband. So my husband knew of him just being in the same church network. So then we all like hung out, played Killer Bunnies because that's like Josh's favorite game. And then once he moved away, I'm kind of that person out of sight, out of mind. I didn't give him one thought. And he calls me out of the blue. He's like, "Hey, Pang." I was like, "Joshua Knoll, what's up?" He's like, "Are you still a nerd?" I was like, "Yes. Yes, I am still a nerd." He's like, "Do you still like One Piece?" It's like, "Well, I have his hat tattooed on my arm." He's like, "Perfect. Would you like to guest host?" I was like, "Sure." And then I'm an all or nothing person. So I was like, "Ooh, you could talk about this. You can talk about this." So I just love giving ideas. And so he was like, "Well, do you just want to become a host?" So I said, "Sure. Why not?"
Yeah.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed getting to know you and Christian, Will, Kino. I think that's the only people James, because he was a host and
Hmm.
he was a guest and now he's a host. So I'm not the newest, which is
Nope.
cool. And I think I enjoy hearing from Christian, from him and Will, how mean I am to Josh. It humors them so greatly. And I don't
Yeah.
think I'm that mean. I'm just very brash and tell him when he's stupid.
You got to be a little mean to Josh.
It's fun.
After
Just
you've
a little
known
bit.
Josh for more than 10 years,
So I guess, yeah, I've known Josh half my life, if I think
that's
about it that
crazy.
way.
I've known Josh for way more than half my life, to be fair. That's just less years, technically.
Well, because you went to junior camp, but I don't think if I was a camp counselor when you went to camp, obviously I would be hanging out with the girls. So I
Yeah.
don't remember you.
Yeah, I was afraid of women, so
It happens.
yeah. Yeah. Too pretty,
It's,
can't
I
talk.
mean,
Doesn't work.
oh, I was gonna say you should be afraid of them. Some of them be crazy. I
Those are
know.
different stories.
I'm one of the. I'm a crazy. My favorite insult because I don't swear is heifer. So I call people crazy heifers all the time, including myself. But I have to be so careful because everything is so sensitive now. Even like if I accidentally call a student it, I literally go, I was like, I call everyone, I like you. And I just have to like kind of dig myself out a hole. So now I just do it like at the beginning of the semester, class is like, guys, you all are a bunch of heifers. Deal with it. So I always just make sure like to call them that collectively because and I even have pictures of cows to kind of go in case anyone complains to admin. I'm like, it's fine. So far they love it. They love it when you insult them. So
Yeah.
far I'm safe.
Yeah, that's
We'll
why
see.
I for a little while I was like, I could just be like a high school science teacher,
Don't do it.
get to insult kids all day.
It's not too much the kids, it's the administration.
Yeah,
Because with science teachers, you would have to abide by state curriculums and you would have to meet goals and standards. Me being a baking and pastries teacher, we just in the kitchen making cakes. There's no standards. I can literally make up what we're going to do today, like day by day if I wanted to. Like, we're solid. Everyone passes. So I don't have to ever worry about like angry parents. It's a cake
I would
job.
be I would be furious if my child failed a baking class.
Some of them get 70s. They do.
That's
Because
bad. That's horrible.
it is. And it's just because they would rather not, they don't want to participate. They just want to eat.
It's a
And
shame. Baking is so fun.
yeah. Well, and also most people get B's because I let them know, I'm like, you can stay in the classroom and get your B and not give me a headache. But if you step into my kitchen and you act a fool, you will get an automatic 0. So your choices for the day is a 0, an 80, or 100. And so most people just stick with the 80, but then I get the good people in my kitchen.
Cool.
But then if they
Fun.
come and act a fool, then they get 0s.
Fun.
It works.
I
I'm
want to
stricter than
attend.
I
Can I
look.
enroll in high school classes? High school baking classes?
Yeah, come on over. You don't want to move to Charleston. I try to get you. You can literally
No.
move in my guest room. How
No.
much you paying rent? I can beat it.
Like 520.
I can beat that. 500. Come live with me. Just kidding. That's awkward. But if you guys don't, obviously you don't know. So my husband and I were very passionate about like home sharing. And
Mhm.
so for the majority of our marriage, we would actually rent out our rooms to, I call it, I call us like the pit stop. So a lot of times people who attend our church and they're college people, they graduate college. So they're no longer living in the dorms. But what college graduate can afford an apartment all to themselves? And a lot of the times they don't even want to be tied into a year's lease because they just graduated, they're job searching. They don't even know where they're going to end up. So we're actually known throughout our church. If you need a place to stay for a few months, you come to us. And I
Yeah.
charge them rent. I charge them about 500, 550. And they get a cheap place to stay. It's a nice house. I cook for them most of the time. And yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
time. And we love communal living. We don't have
Yeah.
kids yet.
It feels better.
It's
I don't want to
it's so
not have
fun.
roommates.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I love my husband, but like it's nice just to my favorite person. Okay, no, I'm not gonna say my favorite person. If any of my friends are listening to this, you are all my favorites. We've had like over 14 people stay with us on and off. And some of them have become my best friends. But like one of my favorite moments is I had one roommate and she loved to read. So we would literally just sit in hours, silence. I read manga and she just read like her fiction. Like she loved fiction, but not necessarily like anime. And we had the best time together.
Yeah. That
My
sounds
best
nice.
friend and I, we can just spend hours together and not talk.
Yeah. I can't do that with Josh.
No. Are y'all really best friends then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. We
You
just don't get to
sure?
see each other that much anymore.
That is true. Because I see my friends all the time, so we don't it's not like we have to catch up a
Yeah.
ton. Makes sense.
My other
Okay.
friends, though, we all live
Mm.
here.
The
A
ones
house
you like
should be
more than
full.
Josh.
No, of course not.
Josh is number 1 in your life?
Josh is Todd.
Todd?
Todd,
Tide. Gotcha. Are you gonna
legally
say with
speaking.
G? Oh, okay. So, okay, what else do you want to know, TJ?
Well, I think we're not out of questions. We're just running over time.
That's okay.
Who could have seen that coming? Uh,
I said at the beginning I'm a talker. I didn't even know there was a time limit.
well, we just want to keep it convenient, I think. But is there anything you just want to get out there? Something you just gotta say?
No.
Nothing?
No. Like I said, there's not a lot to know. I'll talk about anything. I can talk to a wall. That's probably
Nothing?
something Josh and I have in common.
Yeah. Yeah. What about if there was like a dream guest you could have on the show?
Hmm. The only celebrity crush I've ever had was Orlando Bloom. And that was when he played Legolas and Will
That's
Turner.
that's a good answer.
So that would be it. I
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah. Orlando would be a fantastic guest.
We could talk about pirates. We could talk about elves.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
He
We
was in
love all
something
those
else I
things.
liked, but I can't remember. But in Pirates of the Caribbean 1, whenever he goes, "Good day, Elizabeth," I'm like, "All right, honey." I was like, "Rewind it, rewind it." And I make him say it at least 3 times. Because I'm like, "Good day, Mr. Turner."
Yeah. So that's about all we got for you today. If there's something else you just need to know about paying, let her know, reach out.
Just comment. Well, I'll answer it. I'll answer almost anything except my illegal activities because I
Yeah.
cannot be convicted.
There are many illegal activities.
Yes. So that's
Yes.
the only thing I will not answer about because
Yeah.
you can't write it down and that makes
Mhm.
it real.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Plead the fifth,
Always.
of course. So thank you so much for watching this. We're glad you care enough to find out about us and stick around. We're all getting our own episodes. So let us
I
know,
can't
start a
wait to hear.
competition.
Probably I should not be the one doing your episode with you. We just chit chat so much.
Yeah, I think Josh is going to do mine, which is not going to be
Yeah.
better.
Okay. Well, you guys have to keep it under mine then if you can. That's who to beat because I think I'm the
Yeah.
longest one.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well,
You know,
thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. If you want to know anything about any more of us, just leave us a comment, reach out to us with our email. Don't know if that's accessible or not because I'm new, but thanks so much for hanging out.
it is accessible.
Perfect. I don't do the semantics with this. I just show up and,
Muy, muy,
oh yeah, muy muy. Thank you. Arigato. I don't know. That was cringe. I just cringed myself. Okay. Bye, guys.